We told you 2 weeks ago that it was probably going to show up in the data this time, and guess what? It's in the data. So let's look at this Orange County real estate market and what has been going on. This is Dean Odell with Seven Gables Real Estate and the Odell Group. It is February 6th. We're through the month of January. We got some data in here. Let's talk about what we're seeing, and let's get started right now. Looking at today's active listing inventory, you can see we're at 3,179 homes, which is up from 2 weeks ago quite a bit, and certainly up from last year. We're up almost 10% more in inventory, and that's good because we need it. The buyers need more to choose from, because you can see when you look at that 3-year average prior to COVID, that 2017 to 2019 period, which was a more normalized market, back then we had almost 50% more inventory, or nearly 4,700 homes on the market at this time. I wanted to show you this additional slide with regards to new listings, because of the homes, nearly 3,200 homes that are on the market, I wanted you to understand that about 2,500 of those came on just in January. So you had the inventory that was left over from last year, add the inventory that came on in January, and then let's see how many houses sold in January, right? And that kind of leaves us to where we are today. So if you look now at demand, and this is what I was talking about a few weeks ago, I said this is highly unusual that this orange line dropped. It was like we said demand went down, but we know from being out in the field and having boots on the ground that there's sales going on. It's busy, right? And I thought that that might be caused just from the data, the dates that they were released, because we dealt with a Thursday holiday. So it was almost like there were 3 weeks of nobody really doing much, right? Because everybody was taking long weekends and long holidays. So now we're getting back to more of a normal curve here, and you can see that orange just shot right back up to where it is today. 1,264 homes in the last 30 days sold. That's up quite a bit from the 914. So, you had 350 more sales occur just in that time period against that new inventory that I told you came on. For right now, this is why it's a good time to both be a buyer and a seller. And I know that sounds funny, but the thing is right now buyers have less competition and more inventory to choose from. They're going to continue to get more and more people coming into the market, but this is the time of year where inventory really starts to accelerate. So they have less competition as a buyer, and as a seller, the best buyers are usually out there right now. I mean, a lot of them are out there that are good. They're left over from last year. They got out of the market in November. So they're educated buyers. They know the market and they're ready to pounce. And we're already seeing that in the market, and we'll talk about that later. Now let's look at the expected marketing time. Now you can see the expected marketing time. Last slide, again, it went straight up on that orange line, which we're like, wow, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Well, again, it was just like a blip in the data timing wise. Now here we're getting back to normal. Look at the orange line. It's dropped, right? 2 weeks ago, we had 101 days on the market, or expected marketing time. Today, we're back down to 75. You compare that with last year, a little bit slower, about 12 days slower, but look at that 3-year average at 70 days. So we're almost back to the average, right? And when you look at where that average fits up in the legend at the top of this slide, you'll see that it creates a slight seller's market. But we always need to look at this data by price range, and when we're shopping with a buyer or we're selling for a seller, we need to look at how this data compares within its market, because every city is different, every area is different, and so you want to really get a micro approach to that. This is more of a macro look at the Orange County market in general. Let's look at the Orange County market. Where is the activity? Well, I always like to focus on those middle two columns, which is the percentage of current demand and the percentage of current inventory, and pit those against each other. So you can see when you start getting into that 750 to 1,000,005 range, it is a hot seller's market now, because you just don't have the inventory to support the demand. You can see how those compare to each other. Demand outpaces supply. And when you get into that situation, you're going to create a hot seller's market. So if you look at the next 3.5 to 4 million, you can see things slow down a little bit, especially up to 2.5 million. You get a slight seller's market. And then after 2.5, then you get a balanced market. But look what happens when you go into that 4 million and up range. Now look at those center columns. You've got way more inventory than you have demand. So that becomes a deep buyer's market. So these things are going to continue to change until we get into kind of the normalized spring summer markets. But this is what's going on right now. We're bringing you the data as we see it, and it has changed back to more of a normalized situation for this time of year, where 2 weeks ago it was anything but normal, especially because of the fact that we had interest rates lower. So let's talk about that right now and my advice for buyers and sellers. Okay, so you heard me say that interest rates are down, and that is good because it gives the buyers more purchasing power than they had last year at this time. Prices didn't change overall that much in the last year, but this extra 5 to 10% in purchasing power, depending on what they're putting down for a down payment, is really going to help fuel this market in terms of demand. It will bring buyers back to the market, or new buyers in that can now afford a more expensive home, or somebody who just wants a lesser payment, right? So, I mean, lower rates are good for everybody, right? So let's talk about the fact that what do we do if we're a seller at this point? Okay, if we're a seller at this point, this is what I want sellers to realize, is that there is a ton of investors out there that want to get their hands on your house, and all they're doing is robbing you from your equity. They're not doing you any favors, okay? We're getting solicitations on a daily basis. 3-4 times I get, automated text, AI. Maybe you guys are getting them too, right? You're just prospecting. All this stuff comes over your phone. Hey, do you want to sell your house? This, that. Let me tell you what I tell sellers all the time. I say, hey, look, I can knock every one of your neighbors on this street, and probably 20% of them are going to know somebody that might be interested in your house. Okay. Then if I call the 50, flippers that I have in my phone that call me all the time, because sometimes sellers just want to sell and have it done fast. But why are you going to work with just one flipper when I got like 50 of them in my phone, right? Like, if you want to blow your house out, I don't recommend it, but everything is different for everybody. People have different motivations. And we talk about that, when we sit down with you, when we advise you. There's no one best way to sell a house unless we're talking about netting you the most money. It's got to be what you want for the reasons you want. If you want a quick deal, all cash, or you want to be out in a week, you don't want to touch the house, it sounds great. Maybe you're going to think you're going to save commissions, okay? I haven't heard of one situation where they haven't come back and renegotiated the price when they go direct to you guys like that. So now you're all emotionally involved in the deal. You don't want to start over, and you just give in. And now you've even given them a better buy and left more equity, right? Why would you do that? All you got to do is make one call to us. We'll come out and advise you. And, maybe we'll help you flip your own home, right? Like, let's get our contractors in there. We'll clean this thing up for you, put the lipstick on it, do the type of stuff that actually makes you money. We're not going to tear out kitchens and tear out bathrooms unless they're just destroyed right now. But either way, it's never taken us more than 3 weeks to a month to prep a house. Our normal houses we can prep in 1 to 2 weeks. So we have crews that are just waiting. They're constantly working. They go from house to house for us. And we do that for our sellers so that they make money, okay? It's not a big gain for us. I mean, what are we making? A couple of percent, 2-3% off the price of the house. I mean, if I make you $100,000, I make $2 to $3 more. I mean, I'm not doing it for myself, guys. I'm doing it for you guys. So we're trying to put the most money we can into your pocket. That's what 99% of all sellers want. They want that with the least amount of hassles. We've taken out the hassles because we do everything. We handle all the project management for you. We coordinate with the contractors, and we stage the house. I mean, paint, carpet, what else you want, right? So we make it really easy. And it works really well for estate sales too, for people who have inherited homes or are getting rid of a rental. It's a turnkey solution. Just give us a call. We'll take care of it for you, right? And we'll talk about what your options are, and then you can tell us what you think is most important to you, and we'll design that program around you, okay? Figure it out. Like I said, there's not one way that fits all, but don't just go blow your house out to an investor or somebody down the street that you think has a buyer for your house. It's so common, it's ridiculous. We're in a situation right now where finally a really nice home came on the market at a really fair price, and It's about $1.6 million range. And guess what? There's 8 offers on it. There's people everywhere out there. It's not hard to sell the house. What you want to know is you sold it for the most money, did the best job you can. That's where we come in. That's where we take over. Let us negotiate for you. We know the pitfalls of selling. We see around corners. We've done this 3,000 times, like just go ahead and give us a call. Let us help you. Buyers, you're probably going, geez, why is this guy telling these people all this stuff? It's just, I'm going to have to pay more for this house. Well, look, most of the stuff we do to these houses, you're going to want to do yourself anyway. Okay. And especially if you're somebody who's going to be a little cash poor after you go into a house, it's kind of nice to just, be able to move into something that is fresh, that's clean, that you can figure out the house, decide what you want to do later, right? So our job for sellers is to make the house as marketable as possible. Now, for buyers, where do you get the benefit with us? The benefit you get is 35 years in the business, relationships with literally hundreds and hundreds of agents throughout the county that tell us about their off-market listings, call us and ask us if we have buyers for them. But you're going to get the most opportunities with us, and you're going to get the best advice with us. So please let us help you guys. Some people try to make this way more complicated than it needs to be. And we're never trying to hit a home run on one person. We just want to be paid fairly for the efforts that we put in and the results that you get. So that's it for today's talks. Let's get back together in 2 weeks and see what new data we have to share. So I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.